excited about your book.
Thank you, Lee.
Let's take a look at this book. This is a great book. It's always deeper. I was, when you first told me about the book and told me about the title, I thought the title was so catching and so profound because it is always deeper.
Always deeper.
There's what we see on the surface is never really what it is.
Right.
There's always more to it.
Right.
And I thought you did a great job in doing and showing this in your book.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're going to just dive into talking about this book.
Okay.
First of all, when I was reading the intro, I love anything that has to do with strategy. So I felt like, and I've picked that word up in your book several times.
Yes.
And I thought it was so great because some books just tell a story.
Right. Right.
But your book is designed to tell a piece of your story, but also help women.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So do you feel drawn to just naturally help women? Like what made you say, I need to put this in a book?
Yes, I do believe that I feel naturally drawn to help people. And as I go through my own journey, I've found so many people on the journey who are just like me and they need help. And I feel like it's my life's work.
Wow.
And really, our lives are, I call it it's the professional development it's your curriculum. It's what you're here to do. And you go through this stuff because somebody else is going to go through this stuff, and we've got to reach back and help somebody else.
Right. So your life work. So that's a powerful phrase. And your life work was discovered on Christmas morning.
Absolutely.
With a text message.
With a text message from a friend who was in distress. And this particular friend, she has a knack of exaggerating, and I kind of know that about her. But we've always been there for each other. She's been there for me, I've been there for her. And this particular morning, I just didn't have it to give. And everything that she was telling me about, we had talked about this before. Why are we going through this same old stuff? Don't you have some friends that you go over the same old stuff with? And then I realized that what I was telling her, the advice that I was telling her, because sometimes we can tell people stuff, but we don't apply it ourselves. It really dawned on me that, oh my gosh, this is me.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that I'm doing to myself.
Right.
So it was awesome to be able to help her in that moment, even though kind of in that moment I didn't help her. But it was more about me.
I thought that was awesome. But one of the other things that I picked up even before, because I'm like reading, like, okay, what is she going to say? What's happening? You're in the laundry room and the Christmas morning. But I thought it was a beautiful scene that you wrote out for us because I was also looking at the power of friendship.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like, man, do I have friends like that, like that have known me for years, and Christmas morning I'm still going to crawl somewhere and hear their cry, especially if I got the impression it's been something she had been kind of going through. There was always something going on, but that didn't matter to you. Like your heart and your friendship went beyond that. And I was stuck there for a little while, like, that is so beautiful. So you realized your life work after that Christmas text, and tell us a little bit about what was one of the first aha moments when you realized, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
It was at the end of that conversation, and I'm thinking, I'm telling her we've been going over the same old stuff, and then I'm starting to have the conversation with me. Barbara, you've been talking about you're going to write a book, you're going to write an article, you're going to lose weight, and then you look back and none of it is done. So what have you been doing with the time that you should have been committing to the things that you said you wanted to do?
Yeah, so a great gift on Christmas.
Absolutely,
right?
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. So your first point, your first strategy, I love strategy. In the book was about knowing what you want.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was so powerful because even in my business, one of the first questions I'm always asking, what do you want at the end of this? And most people do not. I think I just realized that in the past 2 years. Most people do not know what they really want.
You have to decide what you want.
Yes.
What's your desired outcome? And sometimes we start doing all of these things and everything looks chaotic and confusing because we haven't made a decision. I want my life to look like being able to travel. I want my life to look like getting up and having peace in the morning. And then after you decide, once you make a decision and you get a clear vision for your life, you will find that things will start to line up.
Wow.
And I think it's, I don't know, I think the quote is in the book, Walt Disney's quote, once your vision is clear, then making decisions become easy.
Yes.
So get clear about what you want, and you'll find that, oh, I want to lose weight, which means those cookies don't fit into this vision. So I can't have the cookies.
Yeah.
I want my drawer clean, so constantly throwing things in there won't help me to keep it clean, so that doesn't fit in the vision.
Right.
So whatever it is that you want, it could be something very simple, or it could be getting a law degree. Getting a law degree, if that's a big deal to you, sitting on the couch is not going to get it done.
Right.
So your behavior has to change to match that thing that you want.
Right. And that kind of goes to some of your other points, and I'm sorry because I have notes everywhere, so I don't remember which point was which. But you talked about how important it is to evaluate your progress, evaluate life, eliminate things.
Yes.
I mean, again, once you start with knowing what you want, then you can clear out.
You can clear out all of that stuff. So after you decide what you want, it's important that you examine your life, because you have to figure out why you're not getting what you want, so that you don't keep repeating those same mistakes. So the second chapter in the book is examine your life. What's at the bottom of all of this stuff? What's stopping you? What's blocking you from getting what you want?
Now, is that the chapter where you talked about the procrastination, or is that?
That is eliminate the barriers.
Okay.
So that will be chapter 3. In eliminating the barriers, in chapter 1, I found this that I kept procrastinating and kept getting stuck in a certain place. And I always say I have a little squirrel in my personality, so I get easily distracted.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to big dreams. I think I'm already on the stage.
Yes.
And forget about those steps. We don't need to walk up the steps to get on the stage. Let's just jump on the stage.
Right.
So sometimes you start out with a vision that's so big until you get discouraged. Kind of like losing weight. I want to lose 100 pounds. Well, let's narrow the focus. Let's chunk it down.
Right.
And let's lose 10.
Right.
Well, let's
or are you eating today?
Right.
Yeah.
Stop right now. Put that cookie down right now. So in eliminating the barriers, really procrastination is a disguise for fear. There's usually something else at the bottom of that. Either you don't want to do the thing, you're afraid to do the thing, or in my case, I found out that I was a closet perfectionist.
Yes.
And it's, why do I have to be perfect?
Yeah.
It's because everybody always expected Barbara to do good.
Okay, so can we stop there for a second?
Yes.
Because I love, and I've heard you speak on this before, and I thought it was so profound that you have enough self-awareness to realize that you had the Midas touch.
Yes.
According to your family.
Yes.
And that you grew up the youngest of 10 children,
of 10,
and nothing you did was wrong,
yes.
pretty much.
Yes.
And how did that affect you as an adult in your marriage?
Yes.
And then even lending itself to the perfectionist thing.
Yes. I call it the adverse effect of praise. And from my conception, because I had 9 brothers and sisters, there were 4 boys and 5 girls. They literally fought. The boys wanted another boy so they can expand their kingdom, and the girls wanted another girl to maintain their queendom. So from the time that I was born, they just loved me and doted on me. I remember when I was about 5 or 6, and because there were so many of us, when I would wake up in the morning and go into the room, I literally had all of these brothers and sisters just kind of laying around the room, like, oh, look at the baby.
Yeah.
And that went to my head.
Yes, yes.
So I started to kind of believe my own hype, so to speak. And then when you start to bump into life, when the people in the world don't love you as much as your family, it's like, oh my gosh, nobody's clapping for me out here.
Right.
So what do? Am I not worthy for the stage if I'm not hearing the hand claps?
Wow.
And that is also what happened in my marriage. It started out with all of this praise, and I was awesome and wonderful. And then I found out that there were some things going on behind the curtain. It was deeper behind the curtains that, of course, led to a divorce. So had a major shift in my career. So what do you do when the two things that you most closely identify with, the two things that have birthed your identity, are no longer there?
Wow.
You gotta sit with yourself and figure out,
you gotta go deeper.
Who is this? You gotta go deeper. Who am I really? Who is Barbara at the core?
Right.
And that's a part of what the book is about, getting to the core of yourself, kicking out that stuff that doesn't align with your vision, and let's get this going.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do.
Right.
I posted something on Facebook the other day. I went to my therapist, and I'm by no means telling people to do this, but she said it takes about 3 to 5 years to heal from a divorce.
Okay, I remember you posted.
I said we got 18 months.
Right.
I got stuff to do.
Right. So going back to that, to the divorce, because that was obviously traumatic, and it led to a lot of the reasoning for this book.
Absolutely.
But with how you were raised, because I always tell people, you need to look at your birth order,
right?
And your pathologies, and figure out what you bring to that. Do you feel like you, to some degree, attracted the man who would fit into doing what your family would do? And how did all of that play out? So
when you're raised basically thinking you can do any and everything and all of that, you kind of have the expectation that everybody that you bump into or everybody you include in your circle also is on the same path. And that was not the case with my ex-husband. I think he did what he could do in the capacity that he had to do it.
Right.
And moving from that, the doting that he did in the beginning, probably for about the first 5 to 8 years, in a marriage.
That's good.
Yeah, he hung in there.
Yeah.
That was a part of the reason why I stayed and didn't understand the fallout of it. But I probably didn't give as much attention to his needs because, hey, it was all about me.
Yeah.
I'm the hype girl. What do you mean? I'm B. Swinney.
Right.
So that was, in a marriage, of course, there are things happening on both sides, and we're just not aware. And you operate out of your level of awareness, and you operate also based on your own experience. So it's kind of through this whole process, what I've learned is, if I get to have a story, everybody else gets to have a story.
Wow.
And when you understand your own crazy, it gives you compassion for other people's crazy.
That's so profound. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a therapy session. Very good. I love it. One of the other things that you shared that I really like, when you were talking about action.
Yes.
Because we can just sit and take in all of these great quotes and things too.
Yeah.
But then what are we gonna put it in? How are we gonna put it in action?
Absolutely.
And one of the things that you said was creating space in your life to breathe.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, especially as African American women that are ambitious and educated, we do not stop.
We do not stop. So 5 years prior to the divorce, when I was going through my own unraveling before finding out that anything was really going on in the marriage, I started on this journey because I just had this looming sense of sadness that I just couldn't figure out, like, where's my passion? What's wrong with me? And I'm a pretty reflective person by nature, so I started looking at me. What is it that I'm doing? And that's when I was introduced to meditation. So I started a regular practice of meditation, of meditating every morning. I get up about 4:30 and just spend quiet time with myself, with God, and just take time to get centered. And in those quiet times, you start to hear from you. You start to hear, sometimes in your own voice, who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. And it's just like eating. You can't afford not to do it.
Wow.
You can't say, I don't have time for that. if you don't have time for it, you will crash.
Yeah.
And in that crashing, you will come to the end of yourself.
Now, do you, because you're able to see this and you're aware, can you recognize a woman who is on her way to crashing?
Absolutely.
So tell us what that looks like.
Because we are just reflections of each other. When you start to get to the bottom of you, you can start to recognize it in other people. So sometimes when you're listening to women who are about to crash, or they've hit that wall and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to be doing? You see them doing lots of different things that are sometimes not congruent, sometimes not aligned with one thing. They're all doing great things because sometimes we get distracted by great opportunities.
Right.
But it doesn't really align with what you're doing. So you tell me you want to write a book, but the time that you're spending is not aligned with that.
Yeah.
So if that, whatever is at the core of what you want to do, you want to help people, you want to, whatever it is, when you want to be a teacher, whatever it is that you want to do, your behavior is not aligning with that. And you feel discombobulated, you feel stressed, you feel frustrated, you feel overwhelmed because you're not doing the work of what you want to do.
And so, and basically, because we see that word a lot, alignment, when people are out of alignment.
When people are out of alignment, you can see it.
Yeah.
It shows up in your weight, it shows up in your language, because, people will say all the time, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And you will be.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're telling yourself.
Right.
Your words have to align with what you want.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to say what you want even before you feel it.
Yeah.
And saying it will actually change it. One of the things that I've really come to realize is the power of your words, and then the power of putting your words in writing. You start to write down really what you want, even though you might not feel like it at the time that you write it. It becomes a part of you. I call it, it goes from head knowledge to heart knowledge.
Yes.
It goes from intellect to intuition.
Right.
And once you get on that path, it's addictive. I did a vision board at the end of the year, and I know, lots of people do vision boards, and I did this whole big bubble map of what I wanted to happen in my life. And oh my gosh, it started happening.
Wow.
And once one thing started happening, then the next thing started happening. I was like, oh my gosh, I need another vision board.
Right. Right.
So once you, again, decide what you want, align your behaviors, align your thinking. Is what you're saying align with what you're saying you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you say you want to be rich, stop talking about being broke.
Right.
If you say you want to be, I always say, I want to be that girl. I want to be the aunt. I want to be the person that people can go to and say, oh my gosh, I'm about to get whatever put out of my house, and I want to be able to relieve that stress. Well, in order for me to do that, I got to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
Right.
Like, the world needs me rich.
Right.
So I can help these people that I say that I want to help.
Yes.
So my behavior's got to line up with that.
Yeah.
You can't get rich just entertaining yourself all the time. What are you going to do to make your dreams come true?
I love it. And it falls right in line with the book, because you give strategies for us to just kind of get on that page and move forward.
Absolutely.
So that kind of goes to one of my final questions is, what do you want people to do after they read this book?
I want them to live the deeper life. Deeper is not just a hashtag, it's a lifestyle, and you will use these strategies over and over and over again. How many times a day do we make a decision? So it doesn't have to be something big. It could be, decide that I want to wake up better, so go to bed earlier. And examine why aren't you getting to bed earlier?
Right.
What's happening before it's time for you to go to bed that you're not getting to bed earlier? Eliminate it.
Yes.
Get rid of that behavior.
Yes.
And then what's your plan? How are you going to make sure that these things don't keep getting in the way? And then go back and check.
Yeah.
Did I do this thing that I said I was going to do before I went to bed every night? Did I take a shower? Did I light a candle? Whatever that thing is that you said you were going to do, go back and evaluate that to see if you are actually doing it. And guess what? You will soon realize that you can do it.
Yes.
You can do whatever you set your mind to do.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you definitely want us to live the deeper life, and this is setting us up for this. And I also want to mention how much I like the format of your book. because you do encourage us to write and to journal.
Yes.
And the chapters are short and digestible, and then you give us, I forget what it was called, the thoughts.
That's deeper thinking.
Thinking. And so it was just really great. I really enjoyed the book and all of the different stories. I'm really not a big story person, but